These are top 5 reasons why Uruguay is officially validated as a 4-time FIFA World Champion. Number 5, 1924 and 1928 Olympic tournaments were special events organized by FIFA themselves. Long story short, in 1914, FIFA decreed that any Olympic tournaments going forward would be considered senior FIFA World titles as long as they adhered to FIFA's rules. Now, one of the reasons was that FIFA did not have the finances or the politics to actually host their own tournaments, so these would have been seen as stand-ins themselves. But this actually occurred in 1924 and 1928. Now, why are those two tournaments special? Well, actually, Jules Rimet, the original president of FIFA, himself actually fought for these tournaments to be considered open tournaments, meaning the best professionals of the time could participate, and the teams were actually filled with these professionals, with very, very few amateurs actually filling in a few spots. So this was a massive deal that Jules Rimet himself successfully fought to turn these tournaments into the first 2 official senior FIFA World Championships. Number 4, the world media and the International Olympic Committee recognize them as world championships, not just Olympic titles. So what happened was, well, as you can see recently, Uruguayan reporters and journalists have been flooding the internet with newspapers from the time and even documents from FIFA itself. So essentially, these tournaments, 1924 and 1928, were publicized by FIFA and by the newspapers globally at the time as the World Championships, the FIFA World Championships, and later on even they were actually recognized as FIFA World titles. When Uruguay won the World Cup in 1930, they were called 3-time world champions in newspapers from all over the world, from Mexico to Argentina, Spain, Italy. Continuing also this in 1950, when Uruguay won the 1950 World Cup, they were called world champions for the 4th time in newspapers globally. We'll talk about this in a second, why this is such a big deal. Number 3, FIFA always accepted 1924 and 1928 as official world titles equivalent to the FIFA World Cup. So essentially, since 1991, Uruguay began using 4 stars on their crest. Now, they just didn't do this out of nowhere. They had to go to FIFA to get official approval for this, which they did. And then later on, there was never been any objection by FIFA, despite Uruguay wearing that crest continuously since 91. More so, Uruguay wore the crest with the 4 stars in 4 separate World Cups. We have 2002, we have 2010, 2014, and 2018. Now, this is actually really important because FIFA does not allow teams to put any stars on their crest unless they are officially recognized as formally FIFA World Championships or senior world titles. Now, why this is important? Well, case in point, the last World Cup, FIFA made Egypt modify their crest, take away all the African Cup of Nations stars in order to produce a brand new crest which didn't have any of those stars. Number 2, the FIFA Museum in Zurich actually recognizes the 1924 and 1928 tournaments, the Olympic tournaments, as continuations of the FIFA World Cup. So if you actually go to it, there's a lot of pictures of this. I'm just going to show you just a handful. In the section that talks about Uruguay winning the 1930 World Cup, it is actually described officially as a hat trick of world titles. One of Uruguay's star players, Pedro Petrone, he is described as a 3-time world champion in the museum itself. Another interesting fact is that Uruguay's famous undefeated streak at the World Cup actually includes the 1924 and 1928 Olympic Games. This is actually mentioned literally, World Cup undefeated streak. They refer to those as extensions, as natural extensions, which they have always been accepted as in the FIFA Museum itself. Number 1, why is FIFA doing this? Well, actually, technically, FIFA is not actually really doing this. So a lot of commotion, a lot of this news came out that FIFA was questioning the 1924 and 1928 Olympics. The fact is, this is actually not true. This was never officially sent by FIFA to Uruguay. This was just an intercepted email that came from an employee of FIFA that emailed a Puma employee, and basically there's nothing official to back this. Although it's interesting to note, though, that a few historians that I spoke to recently have claimed that FIFA is in the midst of a revisionist history. So apparently the recent book that they released, the official story of the FIFA World Cup, claims that all the tournaments pre-1930 are as amateur world titles. Now, the reason this is, just to put it nicely, very inaccurate is because it is openly known, openly proven with ample documentation to prove this, that 1924 and 1920 were not amateur tournaments. And the other aspect is, well, why would FIFA attempt to revise history? Long story short, money. It turns out that FIFA and the Olympic Committee do not like each other. They have a long-standing feud. So the rumor is that essentially FIFA are trying to revise history or change history, just a rumor, in order to distance themselves as far as possible from the Olympics. One of the rumors state that the Olympics or the IOC could maybe claim financial rewards from the first two World Championships being hosted during the Olympic Games. But again, all of this is hearsay. The fact is that the IOC themselves on their official website actually recognizes that FIFA, even FIFA back then and going forward, always recognized 1924 and 1928 as special tournaments as equivalents to the FIFA World Cup. I hope that shed a little bit of light into this issue, and we're going to be updating this going forward. Thank you for watching.